Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you guys once again for joining the 9 Innings podcast hosted by yours truly, Kevin Thompson, founder and CEO of 9 Innings Capital Group. Thank you guys for joining us. As I always say, subscribe to this channel. As I always say, go and get my book, MLB to CFP, live on Apple Books. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to 9inningscapitalgroup.com, schedule an appointment, or hit that top button up there where it shows our email at 9innings@9icapgroup.com. Send us an email with your questions, comments, or concerns. If you want to listen to our YouTube, you can go to our YouTube channel and type in 9 Innings Capital Group. If you also want to listen to our podcast on the audio version, go to iTunes and type in 9 Innings Capital Group there. And you'll have all your all the things we're offering right now. We love to educate, empower, and engage, and that's what we're here to do today. And today we're going to educate, empower you, and engage you on something that I've just realized what's going on. Dynamic pricing. What is it? Well, we're here to educate you on that today. Let's get it. So many of us may or may not be aware of dynamic pricing, and that's okay. That is okay. If you've ever taken an Uber, if you've ever taken a Lyft, if you ever went to a ball game, if you ever went to a concert, they use this algorithm called dynamic pricing. So what is dynamic pricing? Well, if you've ever been on an airline, you know that at certain parts of the day, you can have a single ticket, and that ticket is going to come at different prices given the demand and supply at different times. For example, let's just talk about Lyft and Uber. We all know that at busier times of the day, ticket prices are much, much higher. For example, in the morning, if I want to get an Uber or a Lyft, they're going to be a lot busier, and therefore prices will be higher because demand goes up. So they use an algorithm called dynamic pricing to figure out what's the maximum amount of money that someone's willing to pay for a certain trip. So with that being said, they know what the maximum amount of money what a person is willing to pay for a certain trip, and they will put those prices at different times of the day based on that. So whether it be in the morning or in the afternoon or late evening, they know what are these different price ranges that we could charge for these different rides. They have all that in an algorithm. So why is it important to know? Well, if you're not necessarily needing a ride at certain times, you can say, you know what, I need a ride at this time, but I could wait. You know, I'm willing to wait. Then you can basically just say, I want the cheapest part of the day to get me to from X to Y. You can definitely do that. So the same thing applies with ticket prices in regards to ball games. You'll see that at certain parts of days, certain times of weeks, certain teams that come in, they will change the pricing of those tickets. You wonder like, hey, well, the Yankees came in town and my ticket on the third row, the third deck was $25. But then the Orioles came in town and they practically gave me money to go to the game. That's a joke. That's a joke. But at the end of the day, it is true. There's different pricing for different games at different times and different parts of the season. They use dynamic pricing to get these ticket prices out. Back in the day, you can just go up to the game. Hey, it's $5 entry, and it was $5 entry whether it was January whether it was the beginning of the season, middle of the season, or end of season. It was $5 entry. I mean, it's back in the day. I mean, I know way back in the day, it was 25 cents and all the other stuff. But back in the day when I was there, I mean, $5-10, you can go into a game. You can sit out in the bleachers and watch the Rangers play. Nowadays, that's not the case. So dynamic pricing does exist with algorithms. Case in point, Amazon. Amazon is one that uses dynamic pricing on most of its goods and services. Most of you may not know that. Here's a prime example. Take the laundry detergent Tide. At certain points of the day, at the high end, it can be up to $22. But late in the evening, maybe late in the middle of the night, that price is more like $19.99 or $19. Why is that? That's because of dynamic pricing algorithms that price in what someone's willing to pay at maximum points in time. The other part here is this. Why do they do that? They do that for two different reasons. They do that for one reason is because they want to maximize their profits, right? The other reason is because they want to make sure that, for Amazon's perspective, they want to make sure they're offering the lowest cost at whatever the time is at that point in time of the day. So what Amazon does is they have their algorithm, and their algorithm tells them, hey, is someone willing to pay at this time of day? Well, we want to get a little bit lower than that. So their algorithm comes in at a little bit lower most of the days so they can get that demand. So Amazon uses it, but here's something that most people don't understand or don't even know. Grocery stores are going to start using these things. Grocery stores, big box retailers, you're going to start seeing these electronic electronic tickets on the product when you go and shop. That allows the retailer to constantly change prices as needed. So when you walk in the middle in the morning, you may see something saying it costs this much money at this time of day. But then you come back later in that afternoon, that may be either higher or lower, depending on the product, depending on the service, depending on what you're trying to buy and the demand for it. Dynamic pricing is here to stay, and it's coming not only in big box retailers, but in grocery stores. You're going to start seeing this with milk, eggs, products that you buy on a daily basis, prices constantly changing. Now, what we're talking about here, we're talking about things that are moving incrementally. Well, but an incremental move could be a lot of profit for a lot of these companies. A 5, 6, 7 cent move could be a significant gain in regards to a company's revenue. So it's important to understand what dynamic pricing is. So let's go back. Again, you're listening to the 90s podcast with Kevin Thompson, RICP, CFP of 90s Capital Group. Thank you guys for joining us. Today we're talking about dynamic pricing. What is it? Well, most companies are going to dynamic pricing model where their algorithms are basically putting up the prices on their websites, putting in the prices in their stores, and the prices are consistently changing on a daily basis based on supply and demand. Why are they doing this? Well, because they want to make sure they're getting the maximum amount of price that they can charge for this product that someone's willing to purchase, someone's willing to buy. Why are they doing that again? Well, because it comes down to supply and demand is capitalism. Nothing wrong with that. But we also got to understand that in the game of economics, supply and demand, and there's price. Whenever there's demand for a product, whenever there's a change in supply or demand, the price changes. So therefore, in this instance, the price would need to change based on supply and demand. Simple economics. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast today. We talked about the dynamic pricing, what it is, why it exists, and where it's coming from. It's not new, but it's an algorithm that not only tickets for baseball games, concerts, airplanes, things like that we're used to getting that type of pricing. Now it's moving into grocery stores and retail giants. So we have to be aware that dynamic pricing is coming. Dynamic pricing is here. Dynamic pricing is going to be around in probably every avenue of life. We just have to be aware of it, ready for it, and making sure that we're making the proper decisions on when and how to buy certain products and services. Thank you guys. Enjoy yourself. Stay humble. Stay safe. Kevin Thompson from the 90s Podcast.